The following is a conversation with Justin. He helps entrepreneurs break through their limited beliefs. Since Justin is on an internal journey himself, I wanted to sit down with him and learn more about his practices and how he's taking care of himself. Our conversation led to childhood traumas, inner work, and gratitude. One of his daily practices is journaling, which will be the main topic of this conversation. In our conversation, I'll be also sharing my personal struggles living in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. You can find the timestamps down below in the description box. I hope you enjoyed the following conversation with Justin. What I wanted to begin with is when we first met, you mentioned that you are in the transitioning process.
Yeah.
Would you please tell me more about it?
Yeah. So my transitioning process right now is that I have been, running an e-commerce store, for about 3.5 years, and there's been, lots of ups and downs, lots of very good learnings, and it just came to a point now in my life where I feel like I have to, move on, and go a little bit away of analytical, lots of strategy thinking and all that stuff, and listen to myself more and see, okay, what am I really passionate about, So this kind of, more or less forced me into, reorienting myself, reinventing myself actually, and to see, okay, what am I actually passionate about? What do I actually like to do? Not just for the sake of making money, but actually serving people and creating value, that I'm also that I also like, value that I need to create for myself first, and then that I can go out to the world and share with others, and ultimately also, get real happiness out of it, Yeah.
And what's the value you want to share to other people?
So the value I want to share is mostly, so I want to help other entrepreneurs break through their limiting beliefs, their negative programming, their conditioning, and by helping them breaking through mental or emotional blockages that are handicapping them, hindering them from taking the next big step in their business or in their life, in their personal life. Yeah.
What are your limited beliefs? Do you have any right now? Or you have broken free from everything?
Yeah, that would be ideal. No, that's a good question. Well, what are my limiting beliefs right now? I think there's a lot that can be, that can be kind of connected to childhood trauma, right? So a lot of unsolved emotional traumas. With the childhood trauma is that these limiting beliefs oftentimes are there because of the childhood trauma, but you're unaware of it. You're still not aware of it, that you have something that you need to deal with, and this is actually the cause. So the limiting belief that you have, maybe you're not, you don't get many clients because you're not good enough, limiting belief, is actually because of something deeper. That's just a symptom, because the cause actually is somewhere, some unhealed trauma that you had in the past, because maybe your father or your mother, did something to you, when you were younger. So then you think oh my God, I'm never enough, I'm not good, because you always try to seek this approval, this validation from your parents. When you're little, we all do that. So, and it's part of nature, So, and this we carry on through our life, even into adulthood, unconsciously oftentimes. And then it will just kind of show up, manifest in your business, in your love life, in your whatever private life, you know what I mean?
Have you met people like this who just deny and say that I have no trauma, or what is even a childhood trauma? What's your experience?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And but the thing is, I think I would say for the most part they are unaware. Either it's being unaware of it, that they're completely unaware, they're unconscious, they don't know that because people don't know what they don't know, right? So they're not even aware of it, right? They don't even know that, wait a minute, is this really connected to a trauma that I have? What and then just, look inside and be okay, wait, when did I have something first in my life? Did I even have made any experience in my life before? And then if they think, at 6 years old, there was actually something happening there, and now, you have all the dots that come together, right? And the second part, I think, also is that first being unconscious, and the second one is also denial, self-denial. Many people maybe deep down know that there's something that they're still dealing with emotionally, but because it's too painful to admit that their problems that they currently have, are related to this, to certain events that happens in the past, they basically just deny it. They just are like, no, it's not because of that. It has nothing to do with that. And why? Because if you admit it, guess what? You have to be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable, right? You have to admit that, I actually am still hurt. I'm hurt by my father. I'm hurt by my mother. I'm hurt by this person. I'm hurt by my brother. I'm hurt by my sister. Yes, they have done this to me. It still affects me to this day.
In this world, I think vulnerability is not something we want to show because it shows weakness. And in this world, we always have to climb higher. Is it going up the career ladder?
Yeah.
Always achieving more, showing no emotions, just achieving more, showing everyone that you have the power, that you're a Superman, that you can do everything, you can multitask, etc. So it's very difficult to be vulnerable. You just can't do it. But how did you become aware of your childhood traumas?
How did I become aware of my childhood traumas? I think it was not a moment in time, but it's a process. Of course, it was a process until I got there. Lots of inner healing and self-work, and also help from outside. I've done therapy along the way, which also in the beginning I thought therapy, why the hell should I do that, right? Again, right, what we just talked about, ego, therapy, only mad people need that, I'm not mad, I'm fine,
Tell me more about the inner work. What is it that you started doing then?
So, what did I do? Lots of reading, and but most of the inner work, I would say 90%, 95% was just self-work, So as I said, reading books, journaling, speaking to people, eventually having a therapist also, talking to the therapist. Lots of just reflection, self-reflection, talking to myself, reprogramming my mind, with whatever various tools, and just doing the work, just doing lots of work on myself. Not to deny anything, whatever happens, just let it be, whatever feeling and emotion you feel, let it be. And always do what maybe your parents or someone else in the past has not done. Do it to yourself. For instance, what I did oftentimes is, I would just tap on my own shoulder. I would say, "Great, Justin. You've done the right thing. Because this, you can kind of program yourself into being a winner.
It's like reparenting yourself.
Exactly, reparenting yourself, right?
But right now, do you have a routine? Do you have a way of reparenting yourself, or what is your routine right now? How are you taking care of yourself right now? Are you still doing the reparenting, or what is it that you're doing right now?
So it's a bit of many things. I for sure do this reparenting, but I think it became so routinized in a way that I'm not. It's just part of my work. My self work. So this for sure. But then other things I also do is lots of journaling. I do. I do have, of course, routines, morning routine and evening routine that I do, where I do journaling as well, in the morning and also in the evening, just reflecting, what has been good today, what has been, not so good, what can I improve tomorrow, how did I feel, how did the things make me feel, why did it make me feel this way. Lots of journaling throughout the day as well when I work. Something that tremendously helps me is also journaling my thoughts, because I think this is where everything starts. Thoughts create a feeling, the feeling create a behavior, create your attitude, and then action, and then your results, right? So I think thoughts are super powerful and they determine our life. And what I also do a lot is during the way, if I work in the morning and in the evening in my routine, I just write down my thoughts. I have a piece of paper, and I just write down thoughts, and then thoughts, whatever, negative and then positive, and then I just kind of write down all my negative thoughts, that just come up in my mind, I just write them down.
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning, and also I do it before I sleep, and also I do it while I work, like throughout the day.
And usually in the morning when you write down your thoughts, do you have more positive or more negative thoughts?
That's a good question. I think it's I think especially if I had a pretty rough day before, like the previous day, then oftentimes this tends me to have more, I would say, negative thoughts. Not always, but it always depends, who I was surrounded by, if there was some negative energies around me, or a challenging day or something like that, confrontation. But I think, over time, it's more positive. I would say it's more positive. Yeah, at least like I consciously try to tell myself that, like it's all okay, and even if there's negative thoughts, I will right away flip them, and see them as positive ones. So over a time, these ones won't even appear negative to me anymore, if that makes sense, Yeah.
You mentioned also gratitude. Have you done any gratitude journaling, gratitude exercises, something like that?
Yeah, of course. I also do that every morning. Yeah.
So every morning, besides thoughts, you also write down things that you're grateful for?
Exactly. Thoughts, then what's important for me today, and then also what I'm grateful for. They have these little gratitude journals, you can, they have plenty on Amazon, like whatever, templates and layouts, whatnot, but I do that as well. Like I journal what I'm grateful for, today, what I was grateful for yesterday, and in general in my life, what I'm grateful for. I usually try to consciously write down what I'm grateful for, what I take for granted, right? So, because I think that's so powerful, because oftentimes we take everything for granted, right? We think, this is normal, we live here in Mexico, no problem, it's normal. Whereas other people are like, oh my goodness, like you're living a dream life, and we just think like, it's nothing, right? It's like, whatever. And we only focus on the negative, like what have I not accomplished, what have I not achieved. So I try to every day, kind of like remind myself that this cannot be taken for granted, this is not normal for everyone, so these are kind of the things that, and as well as like, having enough food, having enough to eat, having shelter and all that stuff, right? So these are things I do every day, and then whatever else comes to mind, I just write it down.
Yeah, this taking things for granted, this definitely raises awareness where we are actually living. This is interesting. Just this morning I was thinking about it, because here in Mexico we have access to water, and I've done some research, and water is very meditative. I think there might be very many reasons for that. Maybe because we are 70% of water, maybe because water is just calming. It's like a part of us. And here, since we are literally sitting here with the nice views, with the body of water, we can go to the beach at any time, whether just put our hands in the water. What I read is that when you just put your hands in the water, it has this meditative effect that can calm you down. What I personally enjoy is just walking at the beach with my feet in the water. I think this is something that we here living in Mexico, we take for granted, because this is so normal for us. And thinking back to where we are originally from, Estonia, and you from Germany, I don't think access to water is that simple. For me, I'm from Tallinn, which is in the Baltic Sea. It is pretty accessible, but not like here. Here, I'm living at the beach. I just go down few blocks and boom, at the water. In Tallinn, I won't have to travel a little bit. So this is, I think, we take something for granted. But what else do you think we take here for granted?
I would say, as you say, the water, the beach, because I also had the same, because, we live pretty close to the beach as well. And when we were in Europe, we were like, looking forward to that. We were like, every day we will go to the beach, right? But then, after a week or two or three, or after a month, that's it. You rarely go to the beach anymore. And it's I think besides that, just the climate, just the climate, and just being in a tropical environment. You know, that can also have its, you know, downsides, but I think there's lots of benefits also. You know, because I know many people in the northern hemisphere, you know, come down to such countries, you know, because due to health issues, or they just need this kind of moisture, or, you know, there's always different reasons. So I think this is also one big thing that we have to be grateful for. You know, just the weather here, because when everyone was freezing to death in you know, like probably Estonia or in Germany as well, you know, we were just here, you know, laying by the beach, or, you know, having, you know, lots of sunshine, you know, sweating, and, you know, I'm sweating now. Yeah, so just the heat, you know, sunshine, as you say, you know, going to the beach, just having your feet in the water, you know, appreciating this, you know, like appreciating this feeling, you know, because it's life, as you say, you know, we're at least 70% water, made out of water, and just to have this opportunity to be so close there, you know, to the beach. And also there's not only beach here in Mexico specifically, or not Mexico, but in the Yucatan Peninsula, you know, we are surrounded by forests as well. You know, there's jungle here, so that's also super magical, I find, because yeah, it's just nature. You know, I think that's also a big part that we're missing, because by nature, we human beings like to be in nature, you know, and just sometimes to be just barefoot, you know, on the grass. Or if you go to the forest, they have, you know, different retreats here. You probably know that as well, and just, you know, be very grounded. You know, these kind of things I think we also take for granted, but especially here, yeah, it's something that you should do if you live here, but also anywhere in the world. Like, you should always try to be grounded. If you have a garden, just wherever you are, you know, even if it's not in a warm area, just to sometimes take off your shoes, walk, you know, on the grass, and, you know, just feel it, you know, feel the ground, feel nature, hug a tree, even, you know, touch plants, and just be so grateful for it. You know, speak to them, you know, tell them that you love them. You know, they love you back, you know what I mean? Because they do, you know, even if they don't tell us, they do love us, because, you know, we're breathing in oxygen. Where is it from? It's from them, you know, so we can live without them, right? So these are also little things that we take for granted, right? We just always are in our mind. Like, we're so much in our mind. We're always dissatisfied. We have to get to the next level. We have to, you know, do the next thing, the next goal. And there's nothing wrong about it, you know, but I think the balance is important. The balance is important. And this is definitely something that, it does make you happy, you know, and I think also long term, you know, it can definitely, yeah, alleviate stress and also anxiety and lots of other issues that we're dealing with. You know, sometimes it can even heal you. It can just heal you, you know, just by being in nature. Even childhood traumas can be healed by this, I believe, if you're really, you know, connected and grounded, and, you know, having a healthy balance, you know, with nature and with yourself and with life.
Yeah, you are correct. A few weeks ago, I was experiencing very high anxiety. I had some kind of, I don't know, it just came out of nowhere, and I started having those, you know, depressing feelings. I don't think I had depression. Maybe it's just, you know, you sometimes have this feeling. And I was talking to this energetic healer, and we also had an interview with her. But off the camera, she told me, you know what, just go out in the nature, just hug a tree. And I'm like, man, it can't be as simple as that. Girl, I totally trust you, but me going out to find a tree, I'm like, man. But you know what? Then I took a week off. I went to Chiapas. I went for a trip without laptop, without nothing, and my goal was just to connect with myself, connect with nature. Chiapas is known for its beautiful nature, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna take some time off and maybe find a lovely tree to hug. And you know what? I found so many trees to hug, and I found so many lakes where I could just put my hands in the water, and I was just sitting there with my hands in the water, just moving them. Water was super cold, but it was so calm. It was raining, and all the other people who were there, they were just shivering under the roofs. They didn't want to come out. I was the only crazy tourist who was like, you know what? I didn't come all the way to Chiapas just to, you know, look lake from afar. I went down the stairs, just put my hand in there, and I was like, I was soaking wet. I didn't care. But it was so calming. It was, in that moment, I felt literally connected to the nature every way. My hands in the water, rain on my head, and I felt so calm and so nice, and that's why coming back here to Playa, which is, to be honest, a very intense town.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel so much grounded and so much better. And all those questions or doubts that I had before, I'm like, you know what? I have a clear answer to that. Now I know what I'm gonna do, and even if I'm gonna do the wrong thing or I make a wrong decisions, I know that in the end I'm gonna make the decision right.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. Love that. Yeah. That's nice. That's super nice. And why did you have if I may ask, like where does this feeling of anxiety come from that you had a couple of weeks ago?
I think it came from overworking.
Yeah.
It came from overworking. My journey here in Mexico has been like a roller coaster. Coming to Mexico this year has been nothing that I expected. So I moved to Mexico to start a new life with my former partner. So we were living in Mexico. He fell into depression.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
left the country, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay here in Mexico and make something good come out of it, because I sold everything in my country and I have nowhere to go back to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
here. So, and how do I start distracting myself is through work. Like, work is my escape. I did so much. I built 2 websites. I was walking around talking to people, finding new places to teach classes. I was doing a lot. I was just on the go all the time.
Yeah.
Everything was working out great for me until it didn't, because work was going great, but my let's say my, I can't call it personal life, but the time I spent not working was not great, because, for example, I was drugged here in Playa.
Oh, okay.
It was a bartender.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm being very careful when it comes to drinking. I barely drink, but when I do, I'm like, a few cocktails with girlfriends. That's it. We went to a bar. We ordered cocktails. No one touched our drinks. We were just all sitting at one table. We didn't accept drinks. The drinks arrived to us. We bought them ourselves, and we all had it.
Yeah.
And this was really a very traumatic experience for myself, because we all 3 we lost control over our bodies, and we had to do a lot of breath work to get out of that bar.
That's messed up.
Yeah, so that made me very, very high anxiety, because I started being afraid of everyone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Then another story I have, I was walking down the 5th home, and a live band was playing at a bar. I just stopped in the middle of the 5th, and I was like, hey, that's my favorite song. It was, cover band playing a cool song. I was like, yeah. I was listening to that, and like a minute or 2 later, I discovered that the guy is standing next to me, just like this, and just started small talking. My answers were very vague, because I wasn't obviously not interested in him, and I just said yes, no, I'm going home, things like that. And maybe another minute or 2 later, a waitress came up to me with a drink, saying that, hey girl, it's for you. I'm like, I didn't order a thing. And then the guy said that, well, I ordered. I'm like, no, you have been here the whole time. So this is the time I didn't get drugged, because obviously when a drink arrives to you like this, there must be something in there. So I'm like, I was a target. It was a scheme. And I was like, again. But then I went home and everything was okay, but still I felt so vulnerable, like all the things that can happen to me, and that built up a lot of anxiety.
Anxiety, of course.
So I was working the whole time, and then this leisure time, I was just constantly feeling that I'm being a target. So that just, it was just too much for me. I was feeling very, very bad. And then also a very good friend of mine who's here in Mexico, he also had a serious accident. Fortunately, I can't tell to the public what happened,
cool.
but since it's a very good friend of mine, it also affected me. And knowing which kind of people are here in Mexico, because he had a very bad interaction with another person, and knowing what kind of people there are in the world who can do think like that. I'm like, man, like this just, I lost the trust in humanity. And at some point I was being so afraid that I was literally being afraid of leaving my house, because I'm like, you know what if next time it's no drugs, it's gonna be a gun or a knife or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, I felt like I'm going crazy, because too much happened in such short period. This short period, we're talking about 2 weeks. Like all this happened in 2 weeks. And then I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna, and then I just bought tickets to Chiapas. I'm like, that's the state.
Get out of here, huh?
That's the state. I haven't been. I heard it's great. I'm just gonna go alone and see what happens. But it also took a lot of courage, because I was like, I was already feeling anxious, and then traveling alone. What if something's gonna happen to me? And then, since I also teach about mental health, I teach about anxiety. It was very hard to listen to my own teachings. Like, it's so easy to tell people what to do, but then say these things to yourself. I felt like the people at work, like, you make it sound so easy, but then I'm like, okay, just listen to yourself. It's do this, do that. Feel the anxiety. Just be with that feeling.
Observe it.
And maybe it's gonna work out. What if it works out? What if it's gonna be great? What if nothing's gonna happen to you in Chiapas? All these things that I was telling to myself, and nothing happened.
Oftentimes life wants to test us, you know. So maybe what you went through was just a test, because you said it, right? You said like you felt like your own client, you know what I mean? It's very easy to, you know, be just very on, you know, objectively, and, you know, giving them advice and all that. I think it's so important to understand that, you know, oftentimes life works in mysterious ways, you know, obviously, and life also works for you and not against you, you know. So even things that may happen to you, and someone may maybe say, oh, you don't know, you know, this happened to me, someone did that, I got hurt, I got beaten, I got whatever, you know, this can't be right, you know, like this is not right, you know, it's unfair. I think it's always perspective, because you are the person that give the meaning to something, you know. The glass is halfway full or halfway empty. It's depending on how you see it, right? So this is how we see life. Something can be good, something can be bad. If a lion, you know, is trying to chase an antelope, you know, or a gazelle or something, I don't know, whatever. Someone might say, oh no, you know, this poor animal, you know, he's going to kill it, you know. But guess what? For the lion, it's good, because it's going to survive. You know, if it doesn't chase it, you know, it's going to die. So that's also bad. You understand what I mean? So I think people oftentimes, have difficulties in assessing the events that happen to them in life, you know, or to kind of like evaluating their, you know, life in a proper way, you know. So, and it's all up to you. You have a choice. That's the good thing about being a human being, you know. You have a choice. An animal doesn't have it. So you can always say, well, this happened to me. It is what it is. I learned from it, and just make the best out of it.
Exactly. We choose how we react to certain situations, and the reaction to certain situation is what finally builds the way we see life.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. But as you say, you always choose. You have the choice. You can choose how do you think about something. If something happens to you, maybe you can control the action someone took, or whatever circumstance that happened. But you can choose how to react to it. You know?
Yeah, like when all these things happen to you, then maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you should look at yourself, like what are you doing wrong, because you are the common denominator.
Exactly. Yeah, totally agree.
Like if everyone around you is asshole, then maybe you're the one.
Maybe you're, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe you should look, you know, at yourself first, and absolutely.
You also mentioned off the camera that you are doing YouTube videos, that you have YouTube channel. Tell me what kind of content are you posting there?
Yeah. So I started, I think last year somewhere, but haven't done it, you know, on a continuous basis. Just creating content, you know, for mainly other entrepreneurs, and talking about, you know, topics that can help people to understand themselves better, other people, and just know how to use certain tools, how to use your own mind, you know, to improve yourself. right? So basically talking about all kinds of topics that can help you, as not only as an entrepreneur, but mainly I focus mainly on other entrepreneurs, as I know most of the struggles, and just how to deal with certain things, limiting beliefs, right? As I said in the beginning, negative programming, whatever, childhood trauma, limiting beliefs that are holding them back from, taking the next big step, becoming better, doing a bold decision or something like that, taking a bold decision. This is mainly the content that I create, and try to use my experience, the things that I have overcome, and use this as material, as content, and just share it, and share it with anyone, whoever needs that help. Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
If you would say 3 things that would help anyone, what would those 3 main, most important things be that an entrepreneur or someone with a limited belief, limited mindset, what is it that they could learn? Let's say 3 most important things. What would you say?
Yeah. I think number 1, as we already talked about, is to take full responsibility over your life, right? So this is number 1. Take full responsibility and ownership. So own your own mistakes. Take responsibility for them. Take responsibility for whatever happens, to you. And whatever. Then learn from it. I would say the second thing is to always be very observing, be very mindful, mindful/observing. See things like objectively, don't involve your emotions in it, so whatever happens, it can help you a lot to just, be always observing. It starts with your thoughts. Be observing over your thoughts. This is the first thing that starts, don't identify yourself with it. Thoughts, you're not your thoughts, so if you observe everything, if you have this kind of it's just like a game, you play a game like Mario or something like that, you are here, but you're seeing your character there, and your character is running and going through through the game, which is basically like life, so uphill, down, falling down, going up, and whatever. So you can, if you're the observer, then you can better control your character, the person that you are. But if you're that person, guess what? You're just in there, you think everything happens to you. You know what I mean? So always take that step back and observe yourself, observe your thoughts, be the third person, because this is who you are. You're actually your whatever you believe in, I think it's across all religions also, doesn't matter. It's that, we're here, we're a soul, we're a soul that came to this planet, and you are the soul basically. So you're observing yourself, your character, which is basically just a bunch of memories, bundled together, which is all your experiences, your physical body, your mind, and this is your character that's here, and you can always form it, reform it, reshape it, reinvent it, so be that observer. And I would say number 3 is to trust in yourself, trust in yourself, whatever happens, it doesn't matter if other people don't trust in you, trust in what you're doing, right? Because often this is how it is, and there's nothing bad about it, especially as entrepreneurs. I think I don't know, probably you also have experienced this, but when you were first coming out and saying, hey, I'm not working for anyone in a company, you know what I mean? I'm gonna start my own business, Your family will be like, you're out of your mind, right? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Get a real job, right? And also old friends that you had, everyone, they will doubt you, they will laugh at you, they will think like they're crazy, like they will never do it, they come with all kinds of statistics, that they saw somewhere that 9 out of 10 business fail, and everyone's gonna tell you any reason why what you want to do is not the right thing to do, right? And that's why I think what's so important, and what also helped me along my journey, is to just trust in myself. So you don't need any other person to trust.
Yeah, and
right?
Even when everyone believes in you, but you don't believe in yourself, that's not enough.
That's also not enough, right? This is even worse, right? If everyone believes in you, it's like, yeah, you make it, but you doubt yourself, then also it's worthless if everyone believes in you. So
in any situation, you always have to have trust in yourself.
Always have to have trust in yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust the process. And sometimes, and I think that's the most challenging, is to trust in something that you cannot see yet. It doesn't exist at this moment right now. You know what I mean? But you fully trust that at some point in time, it will be there. right? So I think these three things, in a nutshell, would be.
Absolutely, I agree. Beautiful. So tell me, where can people find your channel? Where can people learn more about you?
Yeah. So as we talked about earlier, like I have a YouTube channel. You can also find me on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well.
I think it was an amazing conversation.
Yeah,
Thank you
me
so
too.
much for joining me in front of this camera.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, and we're done.